Are things much worse now? Of course they are. Is that opportunity there? It sure is. America still works. Regardless of the economic environment, regardless of unemployment, it works. It's pulling yourself together when times are really tough and saying, okay, it's bad, all right? There's nothing I can do about it. I can't change yesterday's newspapers, but boy, I could start new.
Almost from the moment we can conceive life, we are told there is an American dream, that every woman and man can succeed in whatever they desire, and there are no limits to what we can achieve. According to our next guest, perhaps we need to readjust that line of thinking. Let's welcome to MidPoint Professor of Economics at the University of California, Davis, and author of The Sun Also Rises, Surnames and the History of Social Mobility. Gregory Clark joins us again. Gregory, thanks so much for being here today.
Great to be here.
I have to tell you, you are about to crush people here. No American dream. You are now basically going against every tenet that we have ever been taught. Work hard and succeed. How could you, and I say this partially tongue-in-cheek, how could you possibly come to this sort of a conclusion?
Oh, it's just a matter of looking at the evidence and employing surnames. We can actually check over hundreds of years what happens to families and what happens to lineages. And the message is very clear. There is social mobility, but it's a very, very slow process. And if you're at the bottom now, then it's going to be a 200 or 300-year climb back to the average, not rags to riches.
But how could that be? Because you have an opportunity, especially here in America, let's just talk about us here, you have a chance to get a better paying job. You have a chance to educate yourself. You have a chance to move up, move out, move to different areas. How can you still remain stuck in something with so much mobility?
It's not enough just for there to be these chances. It also has to be the case that you're equipped and able and determined to take them. And it turns out that that kind of ability is strongly hereditable. And it just means that there are a lot of Americans who, whatever the chances are not going to succeed in modern American society.
Now wait a minute here. I think we're hit on something here. Are you talking about desire then? Because if that's not there, then there's no way to break the cycle?
Absolutely the case, but it turns out that things like desire are also strongly inherited from your parents and your grandparents, and that's why what we observe in the United States is that if you take certain communities that are now of low or of high economic status, it's going to persist over many generations.
Now, here's a problem, though, that a lot of people have with what you've come up with here. America has no higher rate of social mobility than medieval England or pre-industrial Sweden. Wait a minute. Medieval England? I mean, these are basically serfs living off the land who had to live underneath some sort of a kingship, if you will, here. They had absolutely no chance. Are you saying that we have no better chances now than we had then?
Absolutely. The way we could tell social mobility in medieval England is that a lot of names indicated people's original occupation, names like Smith, which meant you were the village blacksmith. And what we observed between 1300 and 1500 in England is that the Smiths went from being workers to being fully represented in the upper classes of English society. And so we see social mobility there. It's slow, but it turns out it's about the same rate as you'll observe in modern America.
So wait a minute, is there any way to break this cycle then? Can we at least leave people with some sort of a positive note here, Professor?
Well, based on my research, if you want your children to do well, the crucial thing is who you marry. And you got to find someone who has a lineage that's going to indicate that the prospects are very good for your children. And so the crucial question is going to be who you marry, and also what's the social status of their relatives? You want people who come from a long lineage of people who've done very well, because that tends to be strongly transmitted within families.
We've only got about 20 seconds left. Your students don't agree with you, do they?
Oh, absolutely not. But as I say, one fortunate thing is I'm an economist. And so we were very used to being unpopular. And so if anyone has to crush people's dreams, why not it be economists who do it?
I'm sure you can do it every day in this economy. By the way, this is published by the Council on Foreign Relations, and the article is called The American Dream is an Illusion. We invite people to search for it and make your own opinions as well. Professor Gregory Clark, thanks so much for being here, and good luck in the future.
Thank you very much.
Once again, a reminder that the book that the doctor has, The Sun Also Rises, Surnames and the History of Social Mobility. Once more into the breach after a break. How to live the adventurous life fighting in a revolution. That's more to come right here on MidPoint.